Alrighty, how's it going everyone? 01 of 1 here, and as you can tell by the star map, we have just logged in. You can see that the new ship looks a little different. It's got a little bit more going on. And so I figured I'd just kind of show you what we've got kind of cooking so far. It's actually pretty interesting. Alright, so let me just check on my levels. Food, water, you know, all that other... good. Well, sort of good. I think we're good enough. Okay, so let's head out. Okay. So, a couple updates. So when this thing is, even though I have all of the pistons going from front to back, they're actually in this little section right here. Even though I have all of them set to share the inertial tensors, the top of this thing still kind of moves back and forth. And so to steady everything, because this was kind of jiggling around a little bit too much, I put this in here. And so then this just kind of locks the crane to the rest of the ship, at least up at the top here. So it kind of just keeps everything a little bit more stable. We did get all of the wheels figured out, and they are all on there, and they all work, and they're all facing in the right direction. One thing to note, though, is that if you're using this... where is... Oh, is that on a rotor? Yeah, okay. So if you're using the script that I'm using to kind of make everything work, sometimes you have to go into the custom data and put in REV, which then causes it to run in reverse because this little button down here where it says invert input does not work. And as you can see, there is a very slight drifting problem. And I tried getting that to fix, that way this would remain completely stationary. But I think until I get this thing self-sufficient and it has all of its own thrusters, I think because most of our thrust is over here, and we're actually moving kind of like in this kind of an area, or arc, I guess, with this ship, that's kind of what's causing the issues here. And then that guy's going to send in drones, which is fine. You can send in drones all day long. I don't care. Okay, but this is all kind of sort of figured out. We've got our single battery in here. I did put some gyroscopes on here, so 4 of them, and that was just to try to solve some of the wobbling that this thing was doing, just like little bitty jittering, I guess. And it did seem to work relatively well. And then this is the script that I'm using, so cockpit, piston, rotor, and hinge controller. Very useful, and it's actually really easy to set up too. Okay, so let's say I want to pick up that from there. And, oh, I also labeled all these, so A1, B1, A2, B2, A3, B3, A4, B4. I'm going to disconnect this and disconnect that. Alright, so that should float, and it'll just kind of get held on there by the magnetic force, which is great. Okay, so let's say that I want to go and pick that guy up, right? So here we are in our little crane. And there's a drone coming in. We'll wait for it to die. There's a lot of gunfire going towards it right now. A lot of gunfire going towards it. Yeah, I'm fairly certain that it's decimated at this point. Okay, and I'm gonna wait for the debris to hit the shield because that's what it's gonna do. Because as I move this crane, I think it does stick out of the shield a little bit. So there's the debris hitting the shield. Okay, good to go. And then we'll break up what we can. Okay. So from here, if you take a look at the toolbar info, so number 2 is set to the magnet crane switch lock. Number 5 is set for a connector crane switch lock. And then the 9 is the connector crane release switch lock. So this connector over here on the left side there that you can see is number 9. So we hit number 9, and now we can move forward, right? Now I want you to pay attention to the lights that I have over here on this side. I know it's kind of hard to see because the sun is right there, but you'll see that right now the red light is on and now the green light is on, right? So if you can get to a point to where both the red light and the green light are on, you'll know that you are centered over that last connector, right? And then let's say that I want to move over to the next one. So red light is on, green light is on, but not both. So now when you move into about right here, you are centered on that connector right there. And then, so if we're going to go all the way out to the fourth one, so green or red, green. Okay, so now we've got the red here. We've got the green, and we sort of have the red, right? I think that's a bit better right there. Okay. Now, what we need to do is there is another connector over there on the right side of the crane that you can kind of see there. So that is what is connected to 5. So if we disconnect that, we can now move over. And then the way that I have this set up is you just move all the way over to the left side to where the little wheels will kind of stop you up against the wall there. And at that point, you are directly centered over, or at least pretty damn close to being centered over that there. So now what you can do is we've got the little magnet down there, and that is being controlled by C and space. So that's your crouch and your jump. So crouch brings it down, jump brings it up, okay? So we're going to bring that down. Okay, and now you can see for number 2 it says that we are ready to lock. So we're going to lock that, and then we're going to bring it back up, which includes the cranes, or includes the cargo, if I could talk. Okay, now we're going to put it into B2, okay? Or no, let's put it into A2, because then I can do the whole switcheroo thing. Okay, now one thing to keep in mind here is that once we are disconnected from the crane on the right side, the the W and the S will not work, and if you hit them or if you press them, it will actually cause the entire script to fail. And that's because when you're not connected, it can't pick up those. And so it's like it's looking for these things to move, but they don't exist because you're not connected to the grid that they're on. So in order to use the W and the S again, you have to reconnect to there, and then you can move back. So this is 3, green, red. And now we have 2, green, red. Okay, so now we need to get both of them on, which is kind of sort of right there. Okay, and now we're going to put it down into A2. Now, as we're connected to the crane right here, we can actually pick up and down off of the A section. So we're just going to drop that down. And we'll take a look at it from this side. See when we're close. Okay, so that should be pretty damn close, right? So then we're going to disconnect. And you can see that moves over and gets centered on there, right? Then we pull the crane back up. And then all we got to do is just drive it back into place. And it will stop just before it hits that connector there. But it is close enough to actually connect, as you can see by number 9 saying proximity. So then we lock back up and we are good to go. Now, another thing that I'm going to be doing is taking these 2 connectors and grouping them into an A1, taking these 2 connectors, grouping them into a B2 or B1, and then up here on the second bar, or the second toolbar, we're going to put each of those groups on there. So we're going to have, yeah, so you can see the jittering. So that's kind of what these are helping with. Without those there, it's actually a lot worse. And I think another thing that's adding to this jittering is the fact that this ship is still kind of moving downwards, as you can see, very, very slightly. And so I think that's causing this subgrid to kind of like think that it's got to move and it's got to constantly readjust. So I think that's what the jittering is being caused by. But yeah, so I'm going to have groups for all the connectors. They're going to be in the second toolbar. And then when I drop this thing on here and it's pretty much centered in there, when I go to that second menu, it'll say proximity. You hit the button, it'll lock in. So that's kind of how this whole thing is going to work. And each of these can hold about 2 million. So that's 2 million, that's 2 million. So each one of these can hold 4 million, which is a lot. And so then all we have to do is then switch these locks, and then they're locked in. no longer moving, good to go. And then the crane has done its job. So this is kind of what I got. Now, the one thing that I can say here, though, is it a mining transport? Okay. Is that technically there's nothing holding these wheels to the floor. So the only thing that's holding that is these pistons and the fact that the inertial tensors are shared. If you turn off that inertial tensor sharing, when you move this forward, because of all the weight up here, it's going to kick backwards and it's going to rock back and forth like this until like centers or whatever. And the next time you move it again, it's going to go like this, and then it'll go back and do that again. So you have to make sure that if you're going to do something like this, all of the inertial tensors on these pistons need to be shared. And then this thing right here is just to add a little bit of extra stability, so that way I'm not putting too much pressure on the pistons when this whole thing is heavy and is pushing down. Not that that's really going to happen in space anyways, but you know, it's whatever. But that is kind of what I've got here for the whole crane system. It does work quite well. And then in this section here, this is just kind of like a little mini hangar bay where we can put 6 small ships, or you know, a bigger small ship that would fit in here, but then maybe overlap on that a little bit. Up here we have glass, so whatever I decide to put up here, you'll be able to look down into here. And then I don't know if I want to keep that like that or if I want to put like little angles down to kind of like mesh it with the floor a little bit more. I don't know. Sorry about that, I had to sneeze. Yeah, so this is kind of going off of my usual little, you know, setup that I have. I can put a projector on here if I so choose. At the moment, I don't really need to though. All right, so let's see, what else have we got going on? Okay, so because those aren't technically connected to the floor, air can flow through those. And so the area underneath this, so this is kind of like the back door to get in here, right? And it's got a double little thing there, so that way, you know, you're not wasting anything. So underneath this, including here, which I'm gonna have to close off, so that way that seals. So we have another one of these. And so this area here is set to depressurize, right? So it'll pull all of the oxygen through the cracks there, kind of around there. So it'll pull all that oxygen out and into here, so that way this back section, which will be, you know, it will have atmosphere and stuff in there. When you go into here, and it vents a little bit of that atmosphere into here, even though it shouldn't, based on how that is. But just in case, it will depressurize through there and also pull out of the little hangar bay. And then we have 4 large cargo containers here, and these are like built for the ship. So whatever the ship has to carry is going to go into these. And then whatever the ship is transporting will go up there onto the deck. And then in here, we have these little windows, so you can kind of see, you know, thrusters there. And then you did see some of the gyros that I have in there. So at this point in time, there are 20 gyros on the ship. So we've got 5 here, 5 here, and then in this section here, we have another 5 and another 5. And then as I said, we have 3 going forward, well, sorry, 4 going forward plus the 3 here is 7, 4 going backwards plus the 3 here is 7. And then we have, it sounds like things are clanging around. We have 10 going to the right. We have another 10 going to the left. And these are just what's inside here. I'm still going to be putting some on the outside of the ship just to kind of make sure that everything works. Looks like I forgot to finish this off. Okay. So we'll put that there. Okay. So that's going to connect all of the large cargo containers under there through here. And then we can also branch this off as needed to go wherever we need to go. And then I kind of want to have this whole section here be glassed off, and then have like an area where you can kind of like do stuff under here, like maybe like a maintenance deck, or I don't know, refinery deck or something, like reactors. I don't know. We'll put something under here, and then with all of that glass up here, so that we can kind of look up and see. It's like, whoa, there's a lot of fire going on up there. So I kind of want to do that. And then we have our build and repair units doubled up. So we have 8 on this side, another 8 on this side for a total of 16 there. This one here is there currently. I don't know if I want to keep it there. We will see. And then we have another one here. And I think we have one in the back. We do not. We had one in the back, but I took it out. Okay. So that's kind of what I've got so far. It's definitely been an interesting build, and I'm not sure exactly how I want to do this, but then I was thinking of this front section up here, and then we have the tracks. Well, it's not really a track, but you know, so the wheels will line on kind of this area here, and it'll kind of go through. And then this little divoted out section is just there for aesthetic purposes. It doesn't actually do anything. So another thing that I can do is I can pick this up, run it all the way out to here, and then drop this thing out once it's rotated. Oh, I forgot to show you the rotate. There is a rotor under there, so I can rotate this as needed. So I can take that, bring it all the way out here, then drop it down below the deck to connect to whatever ship I have in here. Now this is going to be a larger ship, large grid most likely. And I just like that you can see the thrusters through there. I mean, that's kind of like the entire point of having those there, but I thought it was kind of cool. Yeah, so we're going to be able to bring in a ship into the back here and then load up whatever we need to load up and then pull the ship out. And I'm thinking what would be kind of cool to do would be to have hinges on this side, hinges on this side, and then have the front of this thing kind of come into a cone, but in 2 halves. And then when you're bringing in a ship to load, like those open up, right? So that'll open up out that way, that'll open up out that way. The ship kind of gets backed in, or I can have it so that way it pulls in. Yeah, I can put in a bunch of pistons back here with connectors on the end, so push them out, connect to the ship, pull the ship in, so that way you know that it's in the right place. And then, you know, just load up. I'm still kind of working on that in my head though, so I'm not sure how I feel about that. I mean, another thing that I could do is put some hangar bay doors, like really, really big ones on the bottom, and just have them kind of fold out, and then you just bring a ship up and in. Or I could just have it so that way the ship kind of just comes in here and just kind of drops down into a big hole in here, which honestly might be the better way to go. Like if I build like a little bowl in here, and then I make it so that way whatever ship I'm carrying with me, so it's going to be like a little mini transport ship, will kind of like drop in here and then dock. And then I can move these things as I want onto here, and then undock that thing and then move it to wherever it needs to be moved to without having to move the entire carrier. So that's kind of an option. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I do know that I need to start working on thrusters going up and down. And this just came to my thought process like 3 seconds ago, but if I were to kind of flare this out a little bit, like maybe at this block level, like just below this one, just kind of flare it out a little bit and then like hide thrusters pointing up, like that line up with each of these, I think that would be kind of cool. And then we would definitely get our up and downwards thrust, which hopefully should help with the movement here. So we're not, because I mean right now all we have on here is forward, back, left, and right. We don't have up and down yet. And so then everything, like all of the movement on this thing is being relied on by this thing, and then it's trying to offset like a really big heavy weight all on its right side. So I think that's why the whole thing is kind of moving. And then also because we have a subgrid there, that kind of adds a little bit of extra movement as well. So it's just, it's a thing. I don't know. It's a thing. And then as far as names for this goes, there have been a few, so I do appreciate those comments. The one that I'm leaning towards right now is LWCS Orion. And I think Orion is actually my favorite constellation, so I think having this being like a big, strong, you know, Orion ship, I think that just kind of fits. And then HWCS stands for heavyweight cargo ship, I believe is what, let me just look that up real quick. Hopefully I can find it. Okay, so this comment was from Michael Dantzler, so once again, thank you. And yeah, so it's heavyweight cargo ship Orion. But yeah, I like this. So far that's kind of in the lead right now. I have gotten Nostromo, Subway from Suraj because he's just being silly. Cannoli was another one. That's from David Gutting, which is kind of hilarious. But Captator, interesting. That one was from Heeltech. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. But yeah, so we've had quite a few, but right now I'm leaning towards Orion. I think that just kind of fits a little better, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so it's kind of what I'm leaning towards, which I've probably said like 5 times already. And honestly, that might be what I end up naming it because I think that's a really good name for this ship. But I need to think about the front of this thing. And I think the bowl option, honestly, is probably going to be the best option. Probably going to be the best option. And then I have to figure out how to work out all of the thruster situation with that, which is going to be interesting. So I'm going to have to make like a sub ship that fits inside of this ship, but it's also a large grid ship. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Let's see. So another thing that I'm going to need is batteries. So right now the only battery that I have on here is this one. And then I'm thinking of making this area back here kind of like a residential area and command deck kind of just right back here. And then under here, I really want to have this work in such a way to where you're like looking down into this section here. And then within this section is like some of your main assemblers and refineries. I think that could be kind of cool, but then I have to figure out how to make all the walkways work with everything, which is going to be interesting. And then also, like, how do I split that up to have like the residential and the command deck areas in there? So there's a lot of things that I'm trying to figure out in my head, and I have no plans. Like I'm just shooting from the hip right now. I have no idea what I'm doing, which I've said plenty of times before. I'm just kind of throwing blocks down and seeing what works. And then also, I'm going to drop off my waste products. I want to have to make a bunch of this stuff. And I actually want to have, like, a greenhouse. But, like, with some of, like, the decorative stuff, but then also some of these, along with the crop growers. I think that would be kind of cool. So, let's see. We need to drop that off. We'll grab like 8 of these. I think that'll be good. And then we have plenty of food, so that should be good. I do want to put some more ice out there though. So let me just grab some ice. I think I still have some. Oh yeah, I have like 1 million. Jesus, I didn't think I had that many. Yeah, so we'll put this in here just so that way we can keep our store of extra water up. You know, so we have 35 here. I want to have more than 35. Not that I need it, but... And also, why are you missing, sir? What's going on here? It's just weird. And why... Did I take damage? Like, what? I am so confused. Okay, so it's like we're missing that, and we're also missing a rail. Weird. So that's gotta go in there, but I need a construction component. let's see, component. There we go. Grab a few of those. All right. And then we'll throw that onto there. Okay, so that railing is now back. I don't know why I'm doing that, because I'm probably just going to end up disassembling this ship and kind of integrating all of these parts into the big ship, because otherwise I'm going to have to figure out some sort of a docking mechanism, which is probably not going to work very well. But yeah, so we're good on food and water for a little bit at least. And then as far as reactors go, I'm thinking of doing 3 or 4 large reactors, tier 5 large reactors in here. And then we're going to have a shield that is so freaking powerful, it's just going to be ridiculous. But yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at so far, kind of, sort of. And then also, so that way this thing doesn't look like one huge like cigar box. I'm wondering if I should do some like nacelles. But then if I were to do nacelles, I would have to take out like these 4 guns, I think, and then kind of build the nacelles kind of off of here, kind of in the back, which, you know, wouldn't look terrible, I don't think. And then I could potentially put like another nacelle coming off of the bottom. So you'd have nacelle, 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 and then you'd have like the command deck up here to kind of like balance it off. But I don't know how I feel about that yet. So I kind of want to keep working on all of the other things first, and then we'll just kind of figure that out as we go. Okay, so if I am going to be doing some sort of a bowl in here, I have to figure out how this thing is supposed to work. So we're going to have to put a ship in here. And I kind of want that ship to be a little bit lower. And then maybe put like some hinges or something on here so that way it kind of closes down on top of it. That might be interesting, maybe. But then if I put hinges over here, then that's going to reduce the size, the overall size of the ship. So I don't know if I want to do that either. And then I also have to figure out where I'm going to put all the thrusters on that thing. So that's going to be kind of a pain, because just moving it out of here, unless, ooh, that could be a good idea. So let's say I put a piston on the bottom with a connector, right? So that piston will push up and push the ship up along with it, right? And then from there, I'll have all of this free space up here to just like shoot forward. And that way I don't have to worry about burning anything up. And then when I come back, after I've delivered my goods or whatever, then I'll just hook myself back up onto here. I'm going to need 2 connectors though to make sure that I am aligned front and back though. Because like if I'm coming down here, like imagine that where you're looking is like the bottom of the ship. So if I come down onto just a single connector, there's nothing that says that I can't go in like that or like that. And then when I get pulled down, I could potentially be hitting this, which I don't want to do. So if I have 2 connectors on the bottom, that might actually kind of help with that. And then I'm thinking I would have to have 2 connectors, because then that would give me 8 blocks of movement up, which would more than clear everything that I've got here. And it also allows me to kind of move that and set it down into here, like kind of below. But then again, I don't know if I really need to do that. Like if I just want the ship to be kind of level with this, I mean, that might be another way to do it. I don't know. I don't know. And drink of this video, by the way, not sponsored, but it'd be cool if it was, Dr. Pepper, because Dr. Pepper is delicious. Okay. I don't know. It's gonna be weird. Like, no matter what I do, no matter how I think about it, it's going to be weird. And then, I mean, it's a good idea, but it's like, how much bigger do I have to make this? And like, what shape does it have to be? And how much space do I need between these blocks and the blocks of the other ship? These are all questions that I don't know the answer to. Okay, click on that so I can see where we're at for time. Okay, so we're at about 31 minutes. I mean, the only thing that I can think of right now is just to throw blocks on here and hope they work. Or just throw a bunch of blocks on here and design around them. Like, that could be another thing that I could do. I mean, and the ship itself doesn't have to be anything crazy. So, I mean, it wouldn't have to be anything like super fancy looking. So, I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's say that I do this with half a block spacing here, and then we can build on one block. So, okay, so imagine that this is going to be half a block, right? From here to here. And then the start of the ship is going to be the next block in. So we'll have a half block of space between this half block and the block of the ship, and also the same going this way, so that'll be half block, a half space, and then the first full block of the ship. So I think that might be the way to go. Maybe. Once again, I have no idea what I'm doing, so I'm just flying blind here, basically. Let's see, so then we'll put in a bunch of half blocks through here, and that blocks off the yellow from the edge, which I like, because I do want the yellow to kind of be like its own thing and not show up, you know, through here on this side. Okay, so let's see, we can take this, and then I'm gonna I feel like I want to put in hinges here and have like a cover. Oh, but then again, if I do it that way, is that going to affect the crane? And depending on how I do it, let's say that this little ship that I put in here can only carry one of those at a time. Then this would have to be relatively centered, right? To drop down, which means that we should have all the room that we need on either side because that's up high enough. So I'm thinking that might be the way to go. So I would want to put the first hinge probably here, but before I do that, let's just color it that way. So that's going to be where the first hinge is. So let me just throw in a hinge there. And then also, so if you look at the side here, so you see that little marking right there? That little guy right there? I think that is towards the negative side. So if I wanted to open up negatively, like at a negative angle, like a negative will open it up. Whereas if I do it this way, where that thing is down there, then it'll be a positive going up this way. At least I think that's how it works. I could be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong, but I could be wrong. So let's say that I want to make the upper limit 90 and the lower limit 0. And then I want the velocity here to be like 2. Yeah, okay. So that will open up. Hopefully that doesn't cause any issues there. I don't think it will. So yeah, so that little marking right there marks the negative side. So this, negative. Right? And it's in the same place over here, so you can see it on both sides. And then it's got I don't know if you want to look at this. So the little sticker thing is going to be on the positive side. I don't think there's one on the bottom, so I mean that's one way to look at it, but I just look at this little thing and say, okay, yeah, this is how it's got to go. All right, and then we can reverse, and then that will bring it back down. Okay. And then another thing that I could do, I don't think I will, but I could, is use the blast doors instead of these half blocks. But the reason why I say I probably won't do it is because I like having this separation of the yellow to the gray, so you don't, see it going all the way through. So it's kind of what I'm going for, I think. Okay, so then notch down, and then that will spin up the same way. And once again, I have no idea how far out I'm going to go with this thing. I don't even know what shape I want for this yet. I mean, I'm thinking I'll bring it out. What is that? That's going to be sending in drones. Rude. So I think I want to bring it out to either like a 45 or a 2x1 into a 45 and just kind of have like a sort of like a rounded corner. Not quite like a tight corner, but I mean like a tight corner wouldn't be bad. It's just I don't know how that would work. But I mean, if I can get this to go out to a somewhat rounded corner or maybe even a tight corner, and then I build the rest of the ship to kind of like follow that, I think that might be kind of interesting. And so then if I'm going to start that corner, what are you doing? Go away. No one wants you. You're not going to like stop out there, are you? Because that's going to be really annoying. So there is the first drone coming in. All right. So anyways, I'm going to put in the other hinge here and hope that's a good place for it. Okay, a little notch down. All right, notch down. There we go. Okay. So now, that thing's gonna get wrecked. Game froze. And then another thing that I noticed is that there seems to be like a glitch going on with my sound after a while. I don't know if it's because I'm playing it too much or for too long, and things just, like errors just get compounded until it eventually starts causing some glitches, but it's like you hear a sound and then it's like there's a pause and then you hear the rest of the sound and then pause and then like the final part of the sound. So it's like it like splits up the sound into like sections. Is that a gamma drone coming in? Great. Go away. Okay, so anyways, I could just hop up in here to recharge, I think. Yeah, those drones stand 0 chance against my guns. Okay, so we are at 100% power. Good. Okay, so I'm going to try just like... I mean, if I go with a 2x1, that's going to be like way out here. I mean, it wouldn't be terrible, but... I don't know how I feel about it. So then we would have to have that there. And then this would have to go out like that to get to that block. So that'll be just kind of going straight across here. And then if I do the same thing over here, is that another drone coming in? Oh no, that's meteors. Okay. And then like all of this still has to like fold in and stuff. So I'm kind of wary about how I make all of these things fit. I mean, I could do it, like no problem, but it's gonna be weird. And then also I have to set in these settings, and then also probably sharing the inertial tensor, I'm thinking, or not. There's another drone coming in, kind of annoying. Okay, so we'll copy all that, and we'll bring this in to all of these ones. So that way they're all just kind of set to the same thing, which should work. All right. So let me put in these parts. So I'll do that, and I need more alloy plates. All right, alloy plate. There we go, there's 99. Is that all I got? Okay, that's fine. Oh, hey, look, remains of a drone. What do you know? Anyways, okay, so let's throw that in there, and then flip this guy around so we can go there and there. And then, let's see, that needs to go there and there. Okay, so something like that. And I could actually just kind of bring that around and just kind of have like a nice solid angle there. I don't know how I feel about that though, because I want to put in like a half block, you know, kind of like how I did on the back here. I mean, I suppose I don't really need to, so I guess we'll just kind of fill it in, just kind of go with it, I guess. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, who knows. Okay, so then I can start working on this, and I do know that I'm going to need merge blocks. So we'll throw those in here as well. So we'll put this into here, and then we'll put this into here. And then merge block. And then another merge block. Okay, so that'll merge those two together. Hopefully it doesn't break, good. And then we'll bridge the gap. And then get rid of the merge blocks. And then fill that back in with that. Okay, so that does leave us with a half block gap, which I'm not completely against. I mean, I would prefer that it not be there, obviously, but I'm not really that worried about it. Okay, and then I have to work on getting this thing. Now, this actually isn't that difficult because of how I built it. So now this one won't let me place unless I take out that piece, but I don't know. Suppose I can do that real quick just to kind of get it in there, and then we'll need to do the same thing over here with that piece and that piece, and then I can always put them back once this thing is lifted up. Okay, so then we need, hopefully that will go in there. Good. Okay, so then that can go in there. And then this one will go in there, no problem. Okay, so that can go there. And then we'll put this guy in there, and then I still want to go with a half block here. But I think, I don't know how I want this to go. Because we don't have like a block that kind of is a half block but kind of fits in there, right? So it would have to have just like a little tiny chunk taken off. So we don't have a block like that, so I'm wondering if I should do something like this in there? Or do I just want to go with the full half block in there? I don't know. We'll just go with that for now. And then we'll fill in all of these. And then I'm gonna have to figure out, yeah, so we can just do that there. Have that just be kind of like a solid block doing its thing. Okay, so that should be this one kind of sort of mostly in there. We'll make this a dead hinge, and then we'll just control it with this back one. So if we then reverse, that should hopefully lift up without causing any issues there. And it goes in there nice and easy, good. And then I can place these blocks back in there. Okay. So I don't like the look of that, but there's not really much else I can do. I mean, I suppose something I could try to do, I have no idea if it'll work though, is put in the full block here. Now, I don't know how that's gonna slide in next to these blocks because it will be right up against it. But I suppose there's only one way to find out, right? And then I can't even see this hinge from there. Okay. Hopefully that doesn't get stuck or anything. It does not. Okay. So that slides in there pretty nicely. Kind of okay with that. And I suppose I could technically put half blocks in here and then just have the half space over here. How's that going to work here, though? I mean, it looks like it should clear it. But we'll try it anyways. I have a feeling this is going to get stuck. Yeah, that's going to get stuck. Okay. Okay, so we'll get rid of this. And we'll replace this with a 2x1 tip. And we'll see if that works. Because that shouldn't get stuck there. So if we do it like that, okay, now that just kind of rolls kind of all along in there. It does slide in, but it does get stuck. Okay. So I kind of figured that was going to work or happen like that. They are designed to slide in like this, but not very easily. And the only way that you can make that a bit more consistent is if you put a lot of torque into this. And I don't know if I want to do that. I mean, I could. But yeah, so you can see that it's getting a little stuck there. But then if I were to just increase the torque, let's put it up to like 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. So 100 meganewtons, and then it just goes in nice and easy. I don't like doing that though, because you put a lot of torque in there and you could potentially be damaging things. But I mean, if that's what it takes to make this kind of go really, really slow, really, really smoothly, I might just kind of keep that. But at the same time, I'm worried about, well, no, because these are half blocks on half blocks, so they will never, ever join. These ones, on the other hand, could potentially join. So like if you log out and log in and then the game is trying to figure out like what's where, it could maybe join those together, which not a fan of. Which is why I want to kind of keep the gap there if I can. But if I can't, you know, it's whatever, it's fine. Okay, so now let's get this going. And then I'm gonna need my merge blocks again to merge one side to the other side. So that, oh, you don't like me. Okay. I will make you like me. That's a terrible thing to say, but it's a game. You know what I mean. Okay. So with that, now we reverse this, and it should push itself down and then connect in. Hopefully without breaking anything. I'm going to back up just in case. Okay, good. You never know when Lord Clang is going to stop in and say hi, so always make sure that you give Lord Clang plenty of room in case he decides to come in. Alright, so we'll get rid of those and replace them with these. And then we'll get this going here. And there is going to be a single block remaining in between these two. And then also I need to make this a dead hinge. So dead hinge means that you just turn it off so it has no torque. So it'll bend however it's going to bend. And then you just run everything with just one of these things. And then this is going to need to be 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that'll be good. And then that's not going to let me place those in there right now, but it will later. Okay, so let's get this going. And I need alloy plates. Oh, and I'm gonna run out of oxygen. That's never a good thing. Okay. That was a little close. Alright, so let me switch out my bottles. So I'll take one of these, drop off that. That'll be good to go. Okay. And then I'm going to need alloy. Although the odds of me actually finding some is going to be... Give me alloy. More than this, please. It's going slow. How is our helper doing? That's still making stuff. Okay, good. Grab those as well. Okay, so we should be good there for a bit at least. All right, we're at 53 minutes in the video so far. Okay. You have a drone coming in from over there, huh? I kind of feel sorry for the drone because it has 0 chance. Then again, I don't feel sorry for the drone because it's a drone. Alright, so that can go there, that can go there. And then this can go there. Alright. So that has to go in here like this, this, and that. And then right there, there, and that should be good. Okay, and then we'll reverse this guy, have this come on up. Okay, so that looks good so far. And we'll throw that guy in there. All right. So I think that will be good there. And then what I want to do here for this middle block is put in some blast door edges and then have them kind of like interlock. So I'll show you what I mean. So like, let's say that I put this first one in here like that, right? And then if I put this in here like every other one, and then for this one, I'll start at this edge and then go every other one. And then we're going to end up with a space there, which I'm fine with. Okay, so that's all of those things, right? And now when we reverse this, they should just kind of slide in right along each other. Maybe. No, you don't want to? Okay. So let's reverse both of these. It's all the way stuck. I thought that would be a cool idea, apparently not. Well, I mean, how do I get this thing to do its thing? I mean, increase the torque, I suppose, till it forces its way out of there. But I'm already like way over torquing this thing, and it's still not doing anything. I mean, that's maxed out, so it is lit. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So let's let's not put that going crazy, right? Okay, so what if I were to close both of these down at the same time? Would that work? I have a feeling it's going to get stuck if I do. So let me see. Hinge, bay, door, right. Hinge, bay, door, left. Okay. So now if I go through here, and I reverse both of these at the same time, is this gonna work? Is it gonna get stuck? Nope, it got stuck. Okay, so this does not work. Apparently these are not designed to really slide by each other, but it would have been really cool if they did. I guess the game isn't quite at that level yet, so we'll just get rid of these. Yeah, it just really doesn't want to work like that. Okay. So what is my other option here? So we do have another option, and I think there won't be any problems with it working. So let me just reverse these again. Bring them up. Okay, so we want the top part to be solid against each other, but we also want it to be able to slide next to each other. So we're gonna go with these things. So that'll give us a half block, and then also it'll reduce where they're gonna be intersecting on the bottom, so there won't be anything there for anything to hit. So this should slide right next to each other with zero problems, and I think it should work just fine. And then we're still going to have that block there, which is fine. All right, so now if we go into the bay doors again, and we reverse these, this time it should work just fine. Yeah. So it's still a little temperamental down here on this side, so I'm thinking it might be a good idea to just take these out and just make sure that it's, you know, good to go, like in the future. So we'll just have the top section over there be flush, and then this will just kind of keep the half block here. And I think that'll be fine. And then another thing that I could do here, if I really wanted to, is I could put paneling on the top here and kind of along the side. Well, no, not here. I don't think that would work there, but if I did paneling here, it should cover up the gap here, but I'm not really too worried about it. And then also, that's gonna be a problem. These aren't smart subgrids, so build and repair units are going to try to get rid of them. So let's reverse these things again. And then I'll put like a control block or something there. So that is now a smart grid. And you are now a smart grid. Okay. So our ship has to be able to fit up into here. And then also, I wonder if I should replace these with 2x1 bases. So this thing kind of falls down and just kind of lines up on the bottom, so you don't have a gap going all the way through. It's just kind of at the top. I mean, that could be something I could do, right? And then I could replace that with something like that. I could do that for all of these as well. Oh, and I also need to replace these, but I don't have anything that I could do for this. You know, have it kind of like angled down like a half block. I don't think, I mean, it might work with some of the new blocks, but I don't know if I want to spend that much time on it, honestly. And this is going to be more than fine enough, like for what I'm trying to do anyways. So let's just reverse that one. And reverse that one. And we'll just kind of leave that there, I guess, as just kind of a thing. Another thing that would be interesting, but I'm not going to do that because it wouldn't work once these things are folded up. I was thinking like maybe I could take some connectors and like put them in here just like for quick little charging places for like small grid ships or something. But no, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, just having one flush edge without having two flush edges means that these things should slide in really, really easy. There's enough play in the hinges to allow for that. And then that also gives me kind of a front edge thing to work with for the ship. I don't know. I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing. I don't know. It's a thing. I don't. Have I said that I don't know what I'm doing yet? Because I mean, I literally have no idea what I'm doing. Also, why does that? Oh, because I built this up. Okay, that makes sense. Sorry, I'm just arguing with myself. And then this would probably be a good section for the passageways to kind of go into like a building here. And then like maybe have stairways going down. Might be kind of cool. We'll do something like this. I have no idea. Right, so that started here. And sound is starting to glitch out, so not really sure what's going on with that. But, you know, it's a thing. Just something I got to deal with. Let's recharge real quick. Oh, that... It's like static is what it sounds like. And I think it's the sound files for the build and repair units kind of glitching out. But, I mean, it is directional, though, so it's like the game is registering the sound correctly. But it's just... It's like it's not playing it correctly. It's like, hey, play a sound at this particular point. It's like, okay, I'll play the sound at this particular point. Oh, hey, you're supposed to play that sound, not that sound. It's like, what do you mean? I am playing that sound. It's like, no, you're not. You're playing this one. It's like, no, I'm not. I'm playing the one I'm supposed to. It's like, no, you're not. I don't know. That is annoying and loud. But that probably just means that it is time to call it quits, I guess. Let the game restart, reload. I mean, most of the time it takes like a lot longer for this kind of a sound glitch to kind of show up. But yeah, just to give you an idea of just the size of these things. Like, the Aurora is already a pretty big ship, right? This thing, huge. Okay, can we stop with the static now? Are you gonna stop once that's done? No? You're just gonna keep on playing the static? Really? Is there a way to like reload the sound? Do we have sound options? Options. Display. Audio. Music, sound, push talk, mute when inactive? No. Doppler? No. No. Contextual? No. HUD warnings? No. Voice chat? No. Sound? Okay, so it is sound, it's not music. But there's like no way to like reset the audio adapter here, so I don't know. Just requires a reset, I guess. But, hello, can you, thank you. Yeah, so that's kind of what I got so far. You've seen the crane. Crane works amazingly. You saw my little light setup, and that is done by using a couple of sensors, and these are set to pick up subgrids. And since this whole thing is considered a subgrid, if I have this to detect the front edge and this to detect the back edge of this, which happens to be exactly 2 blocks across, then it'll light up the corresponding lights as needed, and they're just kind of set there as red or green. And yeah, it ends up working quite nicely. But that static is getting really, really annoying, so I'm going to end the video here. And yeah, let me know what you guys think so far. I still have to put a ship in here somewhere, and it's got to like drop down in here. So I have no idea how that's going to work, and it also has to be able to carry that thing, which is huge. But I mean, I should be able to get that to work, so I'm not really too worried about it. But I don't know, it's just interesting. And it's also got to line up with where the crane can go to, because I got to basically max that thing out. And then the back connector's got to be like in here somewhere, or maybe like over here. And then the front connector's got to be kind of like over in here. So, I mean, it should be big enough for the ship to fit in here, even, you know, taking into account the fact that it's got to fit in between these two wall things that are gonna, you know, open up. But yeah, that's all I got for this video. Once again, let me know what you think, and if you like this video, maybe you'll join me for the next one. But until then, have a good one.